I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Maddie Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, awesome. Well, hello everyone. We're here, season 5, episode 4, Sex Education. One of the best episodes I feel in this season so far. It's so funny. Oh my god.
And when you guys hear who wrote it, it'll make so much sense why it's so amazing.
Yeah, totally. Also, this was based off of like real things that were happening at the time, which was wild. Like it was like a national alert kind of thing from, you know, the health department basically of like senior citizens were spreading STDs, which are now called STIs, by the way, because
infections?
I guess they're infections instead of diseases.
Got it.
So anyways, yeah, I thought that was really funny. And I also think it's kind of interesting because I don't think he directed this, but the same person who directed this, I don't think he directed the other one. Basically, long story short, I've been watching Scrubs as my like background show, and they have an episode about that as well. And I should have looked up like if it was the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like nursing homes, like there's really nothing much to do. So
I feel like that activity takes so much energy, though.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
This is
but
so weird.
Good for them.
I don't want to think about it. Yeah, good for them. I don't want to spend too much time in my brain about it.
You're like Andy in this episode.
I am. And oh my gosh, we'll talk about it when we get there. But Chris Pratt,
so good.
Just amazing.
Oh my God. Okay, well, like I said, season 5, episode 4, Sex Education. This was written by Alan Yang, who we know and love so much from Parks as the bass player in Mouse Rat, but also as writer, producer, creator of Parks. Well, not creator of Parks, but writer, producer. He also created Master of None with Aziz Ansari, aka Tom. He is now working on / created Loot, that has Maya Rudolph in it on Apple TV.
Yeah, I didn't know he was part of that.
Yeah, he is like a huge, backbone of that. He's done so much. Good Place he was also involved with, so I don't feel like I need to go on too much of a tangent, although I kind of did, but whatever. And then this was directed by Craig Zisk, who is a new director alert on Parks, but he goes on to direct 4 more episodes of Parks, and he also directs, this is why I was talking about this, he has directed a lot of Scrubs, and so I don't think he directed the same like senior citizen thing, but he still did direct Scrubs, so that was fun. 5 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, ton of stuff. He did a show, he did a lot of directing on Weeds, Santa Clarita Diet, Charmed, Alias, like a ton. He kind of reminds me, like his resume really reminded me of Alex Hardcastle, which is similar to a lot of directors, I feel, where they direct one episode or a couple episodes on like 800,000 different shows that all have like comedy somewhere in there. Apart from Alias, I don't think Alias has a bunch of
I don't remember it being comedic.
yeah so but anyways, so I'm excited about who we've got in the crew, and it definitely shows that this is a pretty I mean, I guess always, but it definitely shows that this is like a pretty seasoned group, so that's good.
Yeah, I have to tell you that my dad came over to help with Killy the other day. And he walks in and he goes, on the way over here, I was listening to the Conan on his satellite and one of his interviews, and he's doing it with this guy named Alan Yang. And Alan Yang was part of Parks and Recreation. Oh, and he did this podcast with Rob Lowe, and he was on Master of None. And I was like, Dad.
I know. Thank you so much.
I know. you know I do a podcast about this, right?
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
But
I don't know.
I'm
trying to think, that was that a while ago? Because I feel like that I don't remember Alan Yang being on Conan's podcast for a minute.
It probably was a replay.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
It wasn't recent, I don't think. I think it was when they had started, he and Rob Lowe had started the podcast. Because I had to tell my dad that it's like they're not doing it anymore, right? That's what my understanding.
The podcast is still there, and it's still on Conan's, umbrella of podcasts. But now it's Jim O'Hare, who is Jerry, and Greg Levine, who is the script supervisor for Parks.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So, and it's a totally different, I was thinking about this a lot, but it's a totally different vibe. A lot of a lot of rewatch shows with actual cast and crew from podcasts are never scene by scene, line by line. Honestly, it feels more of like a synopsis and then random shit that they remembered or things that they thought were funny. I think the only like rewatch podcast that I feel really like is what I'm looking for in a rewatch show is Office Ladies, and I haven't even listened to that in a million years, but they do it the way that I would like the format to be.
I agree with you. I feel like you get so much out of it, and I think when they go scene by scene like that, they remember little things
Totally.
and that they wouldn't have remembered otherwise. But Connor and I, my brother and I, listened to the One Tree Hill rewatch podcast a couple times, and like we really liked hearing their voices and hearing them reminisce, but like they barely talked about the episode at all.
Yeah. I know. Well, One Tree Hill is a whole other like thing because they have so much like, drama and they're really spilling the beans on how shitty that show was run.
Yeah, that's true too. Oh my gosh.
I think that show is almost like therapeutic for them to be together talking about it.
Yeah.
Which I'm really proud of them for doing.
Yeah.
So that's like a whole other thing. But yeah, I feel like I don't know, and I'm not saying this to like be rude or anything like that. I hope it doesn't come across this way. It's just like from an observational standpoint, I feel like the Parks and Recollection podcast is like half of it is this like a summary of what happened and just explaining what happened, and then the other half is like again random sentences of like this is what I remember from that one time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but that's why we're here to fill in the gaps. So.
Absolutely. That's why there's no competition. They're very different things, and
totally different.
You get something different from both of us. So.
Yes. Okay, well, I'm ready for a summary whenever.
Okay. I wonder if I should change this. I'll change it in my head. Okay. After an outbreak of STIs, well, because I have STDs written in my in my thing. Okay. After an outbreak of STIs in the senior citizen community of Pawnee, Leslie decides to put on a sex education forum with the help of Anne. Meanwhile, Tom has to learn how to survive without technology after a texting and driving incident. And April and Ben finally get to meet Congressman Murray.
Yay! Oh my gosh. The
so
technology that they talk about in this episode, I was like, this is like just really at the start of it. Now look at us. It's awful.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about it.
Totally.
If we really want to get into it. But yeah, so and I went to my, I love this now. You have your sister who's the government, like guru. And I now have my brother who's the law guru.
Oh yeah.
So I went to him for something this week. So I'll share that with you. It's in the opening, so I'll share it with you once we explain what the opening is.
Okay, yeah. Well, it starts with Tom on trial for tweeting and driving, which I think is hilarious that he's not texting and driving, he's tweeting and driving.
That's like another level to me.
Crazy.
Because you have to like if you're going to post it out to the world, you're like spell checking and stuff, you don't want to voice to text that. I voice to text stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And then I read it later and I'm like, I hope they understood that I was doing the voice to text. You can't do that on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, you probably could now with the keyboard, but I don't think you could then. So anyways, but yeah, he's trying to get off the hook about how he was not tweeting and driving, even though the evidence is pretty damning. And he proves that he crashed while doing this. Side note, I have never heard of the movie Unbreakable. Have you watched it or heard of it?
No, but I've seen Glass.
Oh, okay. Which is interesting because it hadn't come out by that point.
Right, which is great. So they have the hashtag. What is Mr. Glass up to? Right? Is that his hashtag?
And like why no sequel or something like that.
Yeah, which is funny because then in 2019 Glass came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never seen Unbreakable, but I've seen Glass. Which
for those unfamiliar, which I was, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's interesting. Did you feel like out of the loop watching the sequel, or is it totally different?
I feel like I didn't feel like I missed anything, but I don't. It could be one of those things where you don't know what you're missing until you watch the first one. You ever done that with a book?
Yeah.
You read it and you're like, this is great, and then you read the one that came out before it, and you're like, oh shit, I could have put way more stuff together. I'm
trying to think. I haven't ever done that, but I would understand that's true because I read a lot of series, and I'm always like, what's the first one? And I'm like Googling, because a lot of fantasy books have like prequels, and I'm like Googling which one should I read first? What's the best way? And there's so many schools of thought on how you read shit. But yeah, I could see how
I've done it on accident.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I didn't know there were more books.
Yeah, like oops. Anyhow, yeah. Unbreakable, if you were unfamiliar, is what Tom hashtags. It's a Bruce Willis movie from 2000. M. Night Shyamalan is, who does that one. And yeah, I had never seen it, but it looks cool. So, And Unbreakable isn't it like about how it really is about how he's like, he's invincible, essentially, right? Like all this shit keeps happening to him and like, or like to people around him, but he doesn't get it.
It's like a superhero movie-ish.
Yeah.
But like not the kind you're thinking of.
Yeah.
And then there's also Split.
Isn't that the one with what's his ass? James something?
Yeah, James McAvoy.
They're all related?
All in the same universe.
Oh.
So at the end of Split,
I mean, I knew that was M. Night Shyamalan too, but I didn't.
Yeah. So that one's 2016, and at the end of Split. So this is why I didn't feel out of the loop, because I watched Split and then I watched Glass, but I've never seen Unbreakable. Okay. So at the end of Split, which if you haven't seen, Holly, James McAvoy, oh my gosh, like he has like split personality. Oh my gosh, it's so well acted. Anyway, so at the end, it like pops up with Bruce Willis's superhero character on the TV in whatever diner he's in. And I bet you that's how they bring in that Glass is going to have Mr. Glass in it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Intriguing. Yeah.
I know.
I did not know all this backstory. Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, moving on. I did see online that John Ralphio liked all of his tweets, which was so cute.
I saw that too. So
I thought that was very nice friendship moment.
Yeah. Did you notice on when they project his tweets, his background like wallpaper is the
like
little
the grid.
teacup picture?
Yeah, the espresso little thing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, so funny. So let's see. Jay Burns is the actor who plays the prosecutor guy. He has done Mad Men, ER, but Parks. This episode actually looks to be the last IMDb credit that I saw, so not exactly sure what's up with him, but he did a great job too. I could imagine acting with disease during all this and feeling like you'd want to laugh or whatever, but great job. And then comes like this really awful thing, especially for Tom, but I think any of us would have trouble with this nowadays. The judge sentenced him to a week without screens, which, was such a challenge for Tom. That was like the worst. And again, he says as much by saying, he'd rather go to jail. Send me to jail instead,
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't have. Well, I don't know. I was going to say you wouldn't have your phone there, but now I don't know, actually.
Yeah, but I think,
I feel like you can use them.
Hard.
And you can also watch TV.
I do know that you have access to TV. I don't know. I think for me, if I'm thinking about it, like there's going to be other stuff. I mean, you put it in perspective of what comes up in the episode. He can't get to work without his phone.
Right.
So I think he's like, just lock me up if I can't have it because I'm useless.
Can't do anything anyway.
Yeah. So I think that's how he views it.
Yeah.
But nobody coached him. Can I just say that? No one coached him because he's just like coming right out with it. That's when I ran into that. Does he say fire hydrant?
No, he just says urge kirch because he had randomly typed it letters when he was hitting the fire hydrant.
Yeah. So he's like allegedly hit the fire. Right. So he catches himself, but I'm like, nobody coached him. He's so just out there with all of it.
Yeah, totally. And no coach would ever know how to do this anyways because those tweets are just pure evidence.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
But I did text my brother because I said, okay, I told him what happened in the episode, right? Because he's seen it, but not for a long time. And I said, this is in Indiana. This is what happened. The judge sentences him to a week without screens. Can he do this? And he said, there's no way to enforce that. I guess theoretically you can make him agree to it as a contingent of not giving him a huge fine. But if he's caught with electronics, the deal would be void. So then he'd pay a fine. They would have him at the end of the period come back in and be like, do you swear by the court that since the last day you were here, you did not use electronics? And he would say, yes, Your Honor. But you're under oath, right? So you'd have to be honest. And then he would go to Tom's lawyer and the judge would say, to the best of your knowledge, has Tom successfully refrained from using electronics? Yes, Your Honor. So they can't just enforce, you can't use screens. It would be, we won't fine you $5,000 if you agree to not use screens for a week, basically.
Yeah, which makes sense. That sounds like what they do in the episode, with Ron saying, I'm going to tell the judge if you fuck up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. It felt like the way it was set up was this is where we're making you not use screens.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
totally.
so that I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, and I could see them taking away his phone, but I
Yeah.
guess you can't
I
really take
wonder if
away
they,
anything else.
yeah. Can they though? That's another question. It's like,
Hmm.
can the court take away your phone
I
if they're
feel like
not
they
if they're
should
not
be
putting
able
you in
to.
jail?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Great question. I'm going to
Huh.
say in the canon of the show, yes, but
Okay.
in real life, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
You could take the SIM card out, maybe. But still, that's still using a screen because you can use
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, I guess. But anyhow, we digress. Okay. So this judge is played by Alex Morris, and he's been in a lot of things. He was in Abbott Elementary recently, which we love. What We Do in the Shadows. He was also in Baskets with Louis C.K. and Zach Galifianakis, which is like this crazy ass show. If you haven't watched it, I think it's on Hulu. I've only watched like a couple episodes, and it's about this I think Zach Galifianakis plays this guy who like is either in clown college or like doing something with a clown college, and it's really funny. And yeah, this judge was basically a main character in that one, which is awesome. And then he was also in Malcolm in the Middle. I also loved how he was basically just falling asleep, though. I thought he did a great job. He was like really over it.
Yeah, I literally have this is the most lax judge I've ever seen.
Yeah, totally. But I did reach out to him and he did send in a voice memo. So I will
nice.
go ahead and play that for everyone. I really enjoyed it was like just a little short tidbit.
Hi, Holly. This is Alex Morris. I am recording this from our vacation home in Martha's Vineyard. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I hope I can get these questions answered for you correctly. Your first question was, how did I get my job on Parks and Recreation? Well, it was pretty much a traditional audition. I just went in, did the audition, did the callbacks, and it was pretty much a simple task. Interesting thing about it, I didn't think that they were going to cast me. I thought it was going to be probably an Asian actor because the character's name was just Judge Lanquito. Oh, I didn't think that was a name that would have been a name for an African American man, but it worked out pretty good. Uh, the, Being on the set was really terrific. Aziz told a lot of jokes. I think he did a lot of ad libbing too, but it was a very, very happy set. People seemed to get along very well. The crew seemed to be very happy. There was no problems. It was probably one of the easiest gigs I'd had in a long time. So it worked out really nice. I really enjoyed my brief stay. The only problem is they never came back to Judge Lanquito's court. And, for that I was kind of, kind of upset. I'd like to come back a few times. And finally, I would love to promote the show that I'm in now, The Family Business New Orleans, which will be on Netflix this September. It stars Ernie Hudson, and I play a character that is totally against my type. So it'll be very exciting. It's the first season of the spinoff from the show Family Business. It's Carl Weber's Family Business New Orleans. And I'm also starting rehearsal on a play, August Wilson's The Piano Lesson, which will be opening at the Noise Within Theater in Pasadena, California. We open October 13th and run through November 12th. I hope people your listeners in the California, Pasadena area will come out and see us. It's a wonderful production, wonderful group of actors, and just a marvelous venue to perform. That's all. I hope I've answered all your questions. It was a pleasure being on your show. And we'll talk soon, I hope. Take care. Bye now.
Yay.
Aw, I love it.
I love Martha's Vineyard so much. I told him as much as well. That I was excited that he was in Martha's Vineyard, first of all. And also, I told him that, I feel like we always want guest stars to come back too. He's not
Mhm.
alone in that, probably.
Yeah.
It is interesting. It's just more funny because the only court that we really see, I feel, is with Purd, who, when they have the Grizzle situation. And
Purd
that
pulls
just makes
court?
it funny. Yeah, the Purd pulls
Yeah.
court. Like, they couldn't pass that up. So,
Yeah.
that's why that judge didn't come back. But I still think he did a great job. And thank you so
Yeah.
much for sending in a voice memo. That was great.
Yes, we love it.
Awesome. Okay. So now Anne is coming into the parks department. This is another moment where she's taking on personalities of her boyfriends. This one is Ricky from the Dude Ranch. I think she likes cowboys, I feel. Like they've written that for her. Like this is the second
A couple
time.
times.
Yeah. At least the second time, because when she was going through her phase of like dating everybody or whatever, she like was dating that guy with the cowboy hat who ended up being in Social Network like a million years later.
Yeah.
And I was
that.
just like, this is intriguing.
Yeah. Like she
There's a
likes a
thing
guy
for
that
them,
works with his
maybe.
hands.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's a vibe. I
But
get it. But also,
yeah.
like, this is not how you dress on a regular basis.
Right.
What are these? This is when she walks in with like the fringe hanging off, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm like,
and then
that's
the
a
next
lot.
time she has just a shirt, a regular shirt.
Right. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Annie Oakley shirt.
Oh my gosh.
But
yeah, so this is kind of like old school Parks, I feel, at the end of the day when we come back to, you know, the conference room. And there is a deleted scene in here, too, where Jerry's in there and they're like, what are you doing in here? Because they're Amy Poehler or Leslie is like saying why everyone would be like really good for this committee because Donna seems to have a lot of sex. And Donna's like, yeah, like whatever. And I loved that. I wish they didn't cut that. But like everybody else has kind of a reason to be there. And they're like, and Jerry, and the audience thinks that you're going to get a reason why Jerry's there. And then they're like, what are you doing here? This is not for you. And he's like, sorry, guys.
Oh, Jerry, just so go with the flow.
I know.
He almost does it to himself because he just lets it happen.
Ugh, poor thing. Well, anyway, it's so funny. Her line, like, to open this is great news. Lots of old people have chlamydia.
Andy, woo.
Yes, exactly. And this is where we learn that this is what the, you know, crux of the episode is about, that old people are having a lot of sex. They haven't had sex education in a million years. So STIs are spreading a lot. STDs in this episode are spreading a lot. Like we said, this was actually talking about a real thing that was happening at this time where it was like a national news story that people like, I can't imagine like hearing that now on the news or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm almost glad I didn't have access to the news.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah. They were reporting record highs of sexually transmitted diseases, and I laughed out loud at the next line that I totally forgot about this. Like, and old people can be pretty ornery. I think you mean
horny.
Or it's pronounced horny.
Horny.
That is so good.
So matter of fact, too.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I love that she calls them the Sex Avengers.
Yes.
Great name.
Yep. And then Pratt becomes an Avenger in real life.
Yes. Oh, foreshadowing.
Yep. But they're asking Anne all their like grossest sex questions or like most like absurd questions because she's the nurse. I love that Andy keeps asking questions for himself too. Like, are pubes supposed to grow longer?
Because that's happening to me.
I feel like half of those, maybe not. I'm sure most of them were scripted, but they sounded so improvised to me.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm sure they did.
Like a
fun runs, a bunch of fun runs too.
Yeah,
so totally. I'd be intrigued to know what was scripted and what was a fun run.
Oh my God, amazing!
But, Chris Pratt's delivery of I ran over my testes with my jazzy scooter, like in the old man voice. I'm like, it's just so good, and also how.
Oh my God, I love it. And I love this little Anne and Leslie moment too, where Anne like takes all their questions in stride, answers them one by one, and then she's like, "You have to be under 40 to ride this train." And then Anne is or Leslie is super into it, like, "Hey, that's how you do it, kids."
Yeah,
I love that.
So supportive. Although I think Chris is over 40, is he not?
Yeah, there was a whole like thing about that that I saw online as well, but I didn't really like take it into stride just because like that was then though. Maybe now she's changed her tune.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And also Chris is very youthful anyway, so
Yeah, I don't think it's like a deal breaker, right?
Right.
I think it's just part of her little spiel here, but it did get me thinking, like, I don't think it's a misstep by the writers at all. I think it's just like, oh, I know Chris is older than that.
Some people classified it as a misstep, but I was like, who cares? Like, it's
people
just Chris.
Change. Next week, she could be like, I'll date someone who's 60. You know, that's
literally, that's
problem.
what I was thinking. I was thinking that was then. Like, that was literally like a season ago. So I think we're good.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
It is interesting to point out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a really funny scene. Really good job. Props to them. But our next scene is Tom is being an hour and a half late for work because he couldn't use his GPS, which is very relatable, but also 3 miles away, Tom. Come on. Come on.
And for how many
come on.
years has he worked there?
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
You don't remember any like signs or like landmarks?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I usually, so at least for 5 to 10 times when I'm going to a new place, I need the GPS.
Oh, totally.
Just because I don't like, I don't trust myself 100%.
And it also tells you traffic patterns. So like if traffic is
Yes.
bad, it might take you a better way.
Exactly. 100%. So I still every morning, I've been working at the same location for over a year now. I still every morning put our place of work in the GPS because like what if I'm going to be 5 minutes late because, you know, I want to be able to know that. And that's the beautiful thing about GPS is it tells you that. So part of me is like I get it and part of me is like, Tom, it's 3 miles and you've been doing this for this many years. You should be able to at least get there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I mean, I do try if I have been there for or to a place for a long time, like I really do try not to use it at least for the first like I don't know, first time. And then if I get lost, like as I'm the next time, or like if I get lost as I'm there, I'm like, wait, which turn am I supposed to take? Then okay, I'll turn it on. But yesterday I used the GPS to go or I did not use the GPS to go somewhere that was kind of like far-ish away, but I've been there a handful of times. So I was like, let me just try this. And like it does take, I'm not going to lie, it does take a certain amount of effort because it's like such a, second nature thing that when you're on the road, or even for me, it was before I was on the road, I was like, wait, which exit do I take again? And I thought about it and I was like, okay, that's it. But we're so glued to them. I mean, it's just so easy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. Like 15, 20 years ago, people still used maps.
Yeah, or like printed out MapQuest.
Yeah, absolutely. My mom and I took a road trip in 2015 together from Illinois to North Dakota for a wedding. And we printed out a MapQuest booklet that went like page by page.
Yeah,
like,
that's what you did. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I will say GPS sometimes fucks you up because it'll say like keep right or something, but then like at the last minute it says you're supposed to turn left. And I have never, maybe Waze has changed. A lot of people love Waze, but Waze always took me like through suburbs where I had to cross 4 lanes, and then it was like, no, this is not going to work for me. So it just makes me more stressed.
I did it for a short period of time, and then I just kind of felt like this is like I would want to go with something a little bit more reliable. So do you use Apple Maps or Google Maps?
Google Maps.
Google Maps, same. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can usually tell when we went on a road trip with Ivan's family, and we had that in our GPS, but we were following his brother because we had to make it to a Tesla charging station. And he kept turning where ours didn't tell us to turn. And it took us like 12 extra minutes to get to where we were going. And when we got there, we're like, what are you using? And he's like, Apple Maps. I was like, this is why.
Intriguing.
This is the problem. Yeah. So I'm a Google Maps person all the way.
For sure. And I know that Google Maps, like, maybe Apple does to some degree, but I know Google Maps, like, updates all the time. And it is always trying to ask people for, like, feedback and stuff. So.
Yeah. Do you get those questions? Like, we've gotten those while driving where it's like, is the speed trap still there?
Yeah.
Is the accident still there?
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And they didn't used to have that. So that's nice. Yeah. I also like the speed limit thing that's on there. Yeah. A lot of times it'll say the speed limit on there and you forgot. But anyhow, so
it'll usually turn red if you're going too fast too. Yeah. Love it.
And I'm like, okay, Google, I don't care.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Yes. Well, sorry about that tangent, but also it's very relevant, so not that sorry. Yeah. Anyhow, Tom built a real life Pinterest board also, which is very sad. Very, very sad. It's just pathetic.
So, okay, I have two thoughts here because I'm definitely not as stuck to my screen as Tom is. Mm-hmm. Like I can go my entire day not looking at anything on my phone and while I'm at work that doesn't have something to do with work. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Did I word that right?
No, yeah, I got it. Uh-huh.
Okay. But I would not be able to do my job, I don't think, without my computer.
Oh yeah, no, but like screens and internet are not an option anymore. Like
right? Why is he even there? He can't work if he doesn't
work
all that stuff.
Yeah, even when like it was getting I mean, this is kind of well, let's see, what year was this? 2012. So it was when we were in
Hmm.
school, especially high school, like half of your homework couldn't be done without research in some way. Well, at least for me. Like
Absolutely.
textbooks obviously do help, but there were some things that could not be done or like essays or whatever the fuck. Like nowadays I just can't even imagine. It's changed so much. But yeah, with work especially, I mean, I remember when Ben talked about this. Actually, that's funny. That's keep coming up. The Grizzle thing when he said that
Mm,
internet is no longer an option. And in my head at
yeah.
that time, I was like, well, I mean, it kind of is. And then I was like, I was thinking personally it is,
Hmm.
but professionally, like emails and all these different like websites you have to go to actually perform your job duties. I was like, it really isn't an option anymore.
My to-do list is even electronic now. Like Ivan
Yeah.
set me up with that because when I first started this job, I was like, I can still do it on post-it notes. And I had like 8 post-it notes filled with to-dos after the first day. And I was like, no, we're going electronic.
No. Oh
So
my God. I
yeah, I
had to
wouldn't be
get
able to do
used
it.
to. Yeah, I did that in college. I had to get used to the reminders app. Like, I
Hmm.
love crossing something off of my list, but the reminders app,
Same.
you just press a button and it disappears. And I was like, I had to get used to that new high.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
But yeah,
I feel exact same way. So sorry, everybody, if you think we're crazy, but there's a definite
no.
high of crossing something off your to-do list.
Absolutely.
Love
And
it.
I mean, I wasn't really a Pinterest girl. I still am not, but there are some people that are super into Pinterest.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it. Especially for like, weddings or events or something where you're trying to create like an aesthetic, but I used to use it in high school, but I don't really use it as much anymore. Actually, when I used it in high school or maybe it was college, it was very short-lived and then I was like, I'd rather just post on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
don't ever post anything on Pinterest. Pinterest was mostly like when we were planning the wedding, like getting
mhm,
ideas for that
yeah.
and stuff.
I
But
mean, it
yeah,
makes sense.
interesting.
Okay. Well, back in DC, David Murray, the congressman who they're campaigning for, is visiting. And at first, honestly, it's funny because I knew when I saw him, I was like, oh, yeah, the robot guy. But the first interaction that we see with him, he's good, actually. Seems totally normal,
Yeah.
totally like regular politician. But then later on, we do obviously see his robotic side. And I
Hmm.
honestly, like, it's so funny because when I saw him come in, I was like, I totally forgot about this guy just because, like, I was focusing so much on April and Ben's relationship that I was like, this is the whole fucking reason we're in DC because of this guy.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
I totally
absolutely.
forgot about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I completely agree with you. But he does bring so much. And it's this great bonding moment between April and Ben, right? Because
100%.
for me, when we look back at that episode with the interns, that should have been their bonding moment for me, but April kind of goes off on her own and is messing with Ben. So here we have this moment where they connect on
They
something that
finally
they're
are like
yeah,
coworkers.
it's wonderful. But I love this moment and the delivery from Adam here when Congressman Murray is coming up to them and she's like, "Is that Barack Obama?" And he's like, "Don't. He's white. Don't
Yeah.
embarrass me."
Don't
The
do that.
way he delivers it, I can't even emulate it, but
I
it's so good.
know. He is so good. I love it too. But also like this assassination comment at the end, like don't say that when he's right
Yikes.
there.
Yeah, that's real loud and his security is there
Oh my God. I'm
and
like,
Ben's
April,
like,
have
"Don't,
you learned
don't."
nothing? Like, shut up. My God. Anyways,
She's still a little baby in some
she is.
ways. Yeah.
Well, Congressman Murray, who did a phenomenal job because sometimes, I don't know, I can't decide whether that's hard or easy to be robotic. Like, I don't know as far as acting wise, but he did a great job regardless.
I feel
And
like it would have to be hard, right? So because you don't want to overdo it.
right. And he still
But
has that kind of like approachable look
Mhm.
about him, but yeah.
It looks like they took a model off the street.
Yeah.
like-
yeah, that's true.
Just okay, he looks the part.
Mm-hmm. He's ready
Okay,
to
and we can just feed him all the lines.
Yeah.
And he can
Totally.
look pretty and say the lines and done.
go. Yep. Totally.
So
The actor's name is Adam J. Harrington, and he is such a silver fox now, as you could imagine. Like if you look at
yeah.
him on IMDb, oh my God, he's very handsome. He aged like a fine wine. He's beautiful.
good job, man.
Yeah, he's so handsome. He's been on Bosch, The Lincoln Lawyer, and the most recent thing, which I think he's still on, I believe it's current, is General Hospital. He's been on that for 53 episodes, which makes total
Wow.
sense.
Yeah.
Because every soap opera actor is
currently?
just like so beautiful. Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay. Nice.
So, Yeah, if someone wants to fact check me, please do. But he's done a lot. He's also, funnily enough, he's a voice for the video game God of War Ragnarok, which our wonderful friend slash, Professor Linda, Danielle Basutti, is known for as well.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to see that little crossover connection.
Very nice.
Which, by the way, if you haven't listened to Professor Linda's Danielle Basutti's interview, please go and listen to that. It is so lovely. She's so regal, just like he is. Like, I felt like a little peasant when I was talking to her. I was like, oh my God, I need to put some lipstick on or something. But anyway, but she was like super approachable. By regal, I don't mean like she was off-putting or anything like that. But for me, I was like, oh my God, I'm in the presence of greatness.
Yeah.
It was like shocking.
Yeah, she's got that air about her.
Yeah. Anyway, so then he's just like staring and smiling. We see him do that in his office, and we're like, what's going on? Because Ben doesn't see it yet. April sees it. And yeah, it's very weird.
I love that I don't feel like we get a lot of looks from Ben to the camera. Mm-hmm. We do get some looks from April, but we don't get a lot of like communication to the camera, right? And she looks at the camera and she's like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah. That's true.
Like she needs a co-conspirator in this.
Yeah. She needs someone else to see what she's seeing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we're at the super funny core part of this. We're at the sex education initiative thing at the senior center. All of them are sexually active. I love this first lady who says, I have 2 partners, often at the same time.
Okay.
I'm like, yes, queen. Get it.
I also love, yes, I know. Good for you. I also love the beginning of, can everyone hear me okay? No.
That is so hilarious. I like later on, I'm just going to mention it now. I like later on when Amy's delivery is really good when she's like, okay, does everyone remember me from last time? And they're all like, no. You weren't here. And she's like, well, I was. I just love it so much.
It's so good. Like she shouldn't have asked that question.
Totally. It's so good, so good. Oh my God. And I'm pretty positive we are. I think it's good continuity because it looks like the same senior center that we were at when they did the ramp with Bobby Newport and getting the white vote or the gray vote or whatever the hell. So that's really cool. But the actress who plays, go ahead.
No, I think I'm trying to envision, is this also where we have the Valentine's dance?
I don't think so. I feel like that's at a different one. You mean the one with Anne?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a totally different spot, which seems like it should be in the same place. But it's like that.
Isn't it a senior Valentine thing?
Yeah, it is. It showed stairs and like to come down, but there's also a stage, so maybe it is.
Yeah. Is there a stage? I thought there was a stage behind Leslie, but I might be creating that in my head.
Well,
in this
there
episode.
was in this episode. I don't remember seeing it, but I do remember it being there with
the Bobby Newport stuff.
Yeah. Totally. It could be in the same place. As far as like real life, I think this was a set and the other place was an actual building. Okay. But it could be.
Anyway.
Yeah, maybe we'd have to go back and see where they say that it was because they could have just invited the seniors to another place for like a fun moment.
Rented a place out instead. Yeah.
Yeah. But who's to say really? Okay.
Anyway, I love that we ask what are the highest risks of sex, and you hear heart attack, falling, partner dies on top of you is my favorite, and also so sad.
I know, partner dies on top of you. I mean, that could happen probably if you're older, having a heart attack, all that kind of stuff. In fact, that happened on Golden Girls to Betty White's character. That's how her husband died.
No.
Yeah, it is. She talks about it.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Sad,
I haven't
but also
heard of
like
anything in real life like that. But I mean, I'm sure it has.
Yeah. How could it not?
I love the falling in love.
Yes.
When someone shouts out, "Falling in love." Oh my God.
The real risk.
Just really, yeah. Seriously. No, falling in love is great. I'm sure. Anyways, but the lady who says I have 2 partners often at the same time, her name, the actress's name is Anne Bellamy, and she was in a ton of stuff. She was also in Weeds, Mad Men, Monk, Ugly Betty, Castaway, the one with Tom Hanks. I don't remember when.
Wow.
But she's been acting forever, obviously. But her picture is so freaking cute. I love it. I can't tell if she's still around or like what she's doing now, if anything. But her little picture is so cute. She has like pearls on, and her hair is very nicely done, and I just think it's very cute. So shout out to Anne, real life Anne.
Real life Anne. Yeah.
We're saying that. And I'm pretty positive that the guy who says partner dies on top of you, I think that guy's name is Barry Ashley, but I can't tell on IMDb because a lot of these guys didn't have, and these actors didn't have pictures or whatever. But either way, great job to you, sir, because that was hilarious.
Yeah. Love it.
And then Andy talking about like not knowing what they were talking about really, or like thinking that this wasn't real. They were just like talking about it. They weren't actually doing it. And I'm like, what did you think we were here for?
He was living in this fantasy land of like not putting in the fact that it could be a reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
totally.
he's like, wait, this is real?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love Donna's like, what did you think we were doing here? But
yeah.
I mean, I guess I get it, but I was at the like maybe he thought it was more just about prevention kind of thing, but still, it's just funny to me.
Yeah. My favorite Andy part. So go ahead with yours because mine is the very last thing that happens before we go to the next scene.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just talking about Leslie now, talking about the diseases. Do you want me to? You can go first, though. Oh, okay.
No, go ahead.
Well, Leslie's showing them how to use condoms for protection so that we could prevent the disease. And this guy is so gross. What if the banana's soft and mushy?
And dog tails.
Legs?
Legs. Slightly
tails,
to
whatever. Sharply
whatever.
to the left. Oh,
either way, it's gross.
God.
Andy. Chris Pratt is like just the way he he like shivers and is that was my note. Is
right.
Like, that is great because this is just way too much information. Like this is something you chat about with your doctor, not the public servants that want to make sure you're not getting STDs.
Well, it's hilarious to me with Andy. He does like a full body shiver. Like he's like moving all around because he just cannot handle this cringe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty positive the guy who plays that is Mike Monteleone. I think that's his name. He was in Independence Day, Grey's Anatomy, a lot of other things. Again, I didn't see contact info or pictures for most of these people, but he's, they're all really cute when I did Google their name to just confirm that it was probably them. So great job to all of them.
Absolutely.
And gross. Well done,
and
grossness.
Gross. Great grossness.
All right, well, now I'm moving on to Tom being screen-free, if you are.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So he can't stand it. He's watching screens in like a mirror, watching Jerry try to get to his email, and it's very disconcerting. Both things, that he's watching through a mirror and that Jerry can't just type in yahoo.com or whatever.
Oh, Jerry. Doesn't know how to bookmark.
What's that?
He doesn't know how to bookmark.
Oh, yeah, doesn't know how to bookmark.
Which, working with people who like haven't had this level of technology their entire career, I do get it.
It's hard.
Like, I do have to walk through some things with some people because, it's just not what they're used to, which is fine. But also typing in yahoo.com in Yahoo, basically.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's like going to Alta Vista. It's like going to Google and I guess typing in go to yahoo.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody can relate to this if they have parents that have iPhones or any kind of phone that, you have to walk them through steps. But I can imagine I don't know. I can't imagine being an older person with like corporate world or working world, like coming back maybe after retirement or something where you didn't have to do all of this. Like, that's probably a lot to learn. But I will say, if you're asking and like having a good attitude about it, like it's not as bad. But there are some old people that are just like so, I don't know, not entitled. What's the word? It's just like they just think they're better than this. Like they don't need this kind of thing. And I'm so sorry, but
they're inconvenienced by having to use the technology.
I'm like, this is just how it goes now. It's not anything we're not going back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I try to be patient, especially with my mom. My mom just sometimes makes me laugh at this point when she likes when she's trying to do stuff. It doesn't even annoy me anymore. It just makes me laugh because I'm like, this is hilarious, to be honest.
I have to agree. I love my mom. Like I post on Facebook for her because she's just like,
so
I don't wanna deal with it. Yeah, so I do that. The one thing that cracks me up is like we used to go on really long walks. I probably told you about like we'd go on the trail and walk. And even now still, right? But she'd be like, "Oh, I have to text this person." And we'd be walking and she'd stop. I'm like, "Mom, like we can keep walking." She's like, "No." So I would text for her on our walks because
Oh,
she
that's
couldn't
funny.
text and walk at the same time.
I guess it
But I love
depends.
it.
It's honestly, it's probably safer.
It is. Yeah.
And it does depend
But I
on
think
how long the text is, maybe, because I feel like I sometimes have to stop too.
yeah. No, this was like a
But I
question.
mean,
a single question.
oh, okay.
And but to be fair, right? Like texting came about when she was in her 40s
Totally.
and we've had it since we were like 16. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, of course we're going to be more comfortable on a trail where no one else is walking, right? Like
Right.
I'm not doing that in the grocery store or out on the
Right.
street. But
Well, sometimes I find myself texting from room to room just in my house, and I'm just like, Holly, put down the fucking phone for 5 seconds.
yeah.
And it's awful. I'm the opposite of you, I think, where sometimes I enjoy social media and I like posting and like interacting with people, but it's gotten like, it's gotten better, but it's definitely an addiction in a lot of ways. So I try to limit myself, especially TikTok at night. Oh my God. I'm just like scrolling. It's awful.
Yeah. I even put timers on it
Mm-hmm.
so that he can't
I
go
remember
past a
telling him
certain
about
time.
that in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
okay. You're probably the one that spawned it then.
Because I remember, we were talking about this and I was like, I have a timer on mine because I will literally stay on there for 100,000 years. And then I took it off actually because I went live on Instagram, with the podcast actually. And it said something like, you are like, the time limit is up. And I'm like, no. And then it stopped it all and I had to start over.
No.
And so I was like, okay, I got to take it off. And then I don't think I ever reactivated that, so I'm probably spending way more time on there. But it does like make you feel guilty because have you seen like the notifications where it says like you spent 8 hours per day on your phone?
Yeah.
And some of it, I will say, some of it I do need some leeway because I do watch TV sometimes to fall asleep on my phone or like have it on in the background during the day, which is probably not the best, but I do, and it helps me relax sometimes. So I have to take that with a grain of salt sometimes.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I do a lot of work stuff on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
And like when I have to, this might be TMI for people, but I don't care. If I have to go pump at work, like I'll just do emails and stuff on my phone while I'm doing that. So I don't have to lug my computer down there. And so then it's like, well, I'm down there for 30 minutes on my phone doing work rather than, I'm not on. That's why you should go into the like actual report and see how much of time is on messages versus email versus TikTok versus all that stuff. But yeah, I was getting notifications that I was on my phone like 12 hours a day because I have Kindle on my phone. And that's how I was reading.
Yep.
And
That's different.
Ivan brought up a really good point where he was like, hey, we should maybe start going to the library. Sorry, Leslie. Because
I love libraries. That's the one thing Leslie and I do not have in common.
Yeah, they're so nice.
Right
me too.
It's the best.
I love it. Yeah, I have like 4 or 5 out at a time because I was reading so many books on my phone, and we were talking about how we don't want Killy to be like on screens, and he's not going to have an iPad until this age, and he's not going to write. And we were like, we need to be better about being on our phones. But I was on my phone reading all the time. He was like, if he sees mom, even if you're reading, he's going to see mom with her phone, and she's going to think, oh, I can be on the screen that much time too. So that's why we went that way. So it's brought my number down from 12 to like 6.
Yeah, I love flipping pages though. But I will say you could get like the Kindle's the actual Kindle thing,
like the actual
device.
That's what my friend has. She said it's really nice.
Yeah, I've heard really good things because it's so thin and you can fit like 100,000 bajillion books on there. So I don't know.
Well, and I think also
it's not as like blue light,
right? Because Connor has one or had one, and I think it's like it's just not bright. Like it's pretty dull. And
I wonder if you can make it like change the settings. Maybe I don't know.
I wonder.
Well,
might be a better solution. Anyhow,
all
to say that
and that's a hard thing too as well, like teaching your kids like having that conversation on how you're going to make them aware that there's no like really getting out of it, but also there is a time and a place, and like it is important to put it down every now and again. So yeah, that's tough.
It is.
Anyhow, Okay. Well, I'm moving on.
Yep.
Finally.
Sorry, I
we're
told
back
you I
at
have feelings about this.
no, I think it's so relevant, I feel. Yeah, and it's just such a
Especially
huge
now.
part of our lives.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's been what? It's been 12 years since this episode came out, and
Crazy.
it's like I think it's even worse now
Yeah.
than
Oh,
it was.
100% worse. Yeah. Because they really are non-negotiable, especially like phones. I feel,
Mhm.
as far as like like actually calling for emergencies or staying in touch with people, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think emergencies is the big one. Like I think I've told you, like sometimes I get home and I put my phone at the front door and I don't touch it until like I'm about to go to bed because I'm just like I need to detach from everything. But then
Yeah.
like if I have to run out to the store, I can't not take my phone.
right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's not safe.
Right.
And then so if I'm waiting in line, then I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
So it's the whole thing. It's a
It's
vicious
whole
cycle.
thing. Yeah. Well, we're back at the senior center, and this is so funny. This like little whatever they're doing display. Like, why does Donna have a pineapple and
Thank
3
you.
bananas and a cucumber? What the hell?
The pineapple, like the cucumber, I'm like, okay, some guys got it. Okay. But like the pineapple.
Yeah,
makes no
and also,
sense
why
to
are you
me.
putting on condoms on 4 penises? Technically,
Yeah.
what?
I didn't think about it.
Oh my god, it's just so funny. I
Uh.
mean, look, the one lady sometimes has threesomes, so maybe that needs to happen.
Maybe
I
she
don't
needed
know.
that practice. Yeah.
Hilarious.
That was my first note too, though. Why is there a pineapple?
I know. I think that's hilarious that they put that in there. I wonder if that was
And it's
intentional.
pokey.
Yes.
Ugh.
Well, Chris comes in now and he is like coming in hot. He is saying to stop because it goes against Marsha and Marshall Langman's morality thing. Where before, because so Marsha obviously has been in it before with the painting and a couple other things, but I for some reason forgot like what this. I was like, are they even part of an organization, or are they just taking this on themselves to like be the morality people of Pawnee? And then I totally forgot that it's the Society for Family Stability Foundation.
But are they
glad
the
they
only
repeated that.
members?
Literally, are they only members?
That's the vibe
Maddie,
I
that's
get.
a great question. I'm pretty positive they are.
Yeah, I don't see any. I think they've just given themselves a fancy name, so it seems like they're not being out there to just be judgmental assholes.
Yes, totally. Oh my god. Well, so Marshall is new, and they are apparently married, and I just think
And he
that
is vivacious. I love that she
Vivacious.
chooses that word. Like she's very politically correct
Yes.
in trying to figure out the right word.
Totally. I love that they brought in another fellow or another
Mhm.
person for this. So it's not just Marsha. I also love that they're named the same things, basically.
Yeah,
That was really good.
so good.
And then, I agree with this. So they're talking about abstinence only sex education is a bill that pertains to any government employee teaching citywide. So abstinence only. And I am I think I'm glad that they put that, because I feel like anybody would think like, oh, that's just for teenagers or for schools or whatever, but it's really just a citywide mandate, bill, law, whatever.
Yeah.
And I love Leslie's response too when Marsha says like, there'll be babies in thong underwear. Is that what you want? I love when she says, yes, that's what I want. That's how I want to
Yes.
respond to so many people that say stupid shit.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I want. Yeah. Would be such a good response. My brain is just remembering. There's an Office episode very similar to this, but it came
Oh.
out in 2010 when I don't even remember how it spawns, but Andy teaches the Office about safe sex. Remember, he orders pizza for them and he shows them
yes!
genitalia,
Yeah, I
and
do remember that.
they make a pros and cons list,
yeah.
and it just all ends up being pros.
Oh my god. That's
And
true.
yeah, he said the safest form of sex is abstinence. And what does Daryl say?
The skiing thing, like if you don't want to break your leg skiing, don't go skiing.
Don't
or something
ski.
like that.
Yeah. And like, is
Yeah.
that how we're supposed to look at life? Kind of.
Yeah.
So, sorry, that just completely spawned because
That's
that's
true.
how I loved that response, right?
Totally.
That Daryl had.
Yeah,
So
I 100% agree. I think it's the same for so many things. But that's what I meant by saying, like, I agree with the. I don't agree with the abstinence only. Sorry. I hope that didn't come across that way. I agree with what you're saying and what Daryl is saying as far as, like, yeah, of course, like, you just want us to not be doing dangerous things that could potentially like have harmful effects such as an infection or a disease or whatever, but we need to know the education around it too. What are you talking
Right.
about? Like, it doesn't. And also we'll talk about it later, but I do love later, like, they do have statistics showing that this doesn't work.
Yeah,
this
it doesn't.
number wise doesn't actually have any sort of bearing on whether infections are spread or not, you know?
Well, it's like you're saying, well, we don't condone war, but
Right.
then we get called to war and we send all
Yeah.
these kids over to war who haven't been trained. Like, I mean, this is a very elaborate
Extreme.
like thing in my head, right? But we're sending people into doing something that they're going to end up doing anyway. Like, I hate to break it to people, but that's just where we're going to end up, and they're not going to have the information that they need to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I get it. Apparently, I'm passionate about this too. I'll take a deep breath.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a whole other thing, I feel. I don't know. That's a whole other like section of our politics. So we're just gonna skirt right through that.
Yeah. But I'm with you when you say, like, you know, we agree with what Leslie's doing, basically.
Yeah. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like the people involved, whereas like this is what I mean by it's a whole other thing. Like war, like affects so many people, whereas sex education affects the two people that are involved.
Yeah.
And then
sorry. I didn't mean to like
you know what
bring
I mean?
it as a war issue. That's
No,
not
I
what
know,
I was
I
just
know.
trying to like give a visual of the kind of thing that I think we're setting people up for failure.
Yeah, totally.
If we're not preparing for it.
Yeah, and
you know?
so I think that those infections, like, you need to know about them too, because, like, say you eventually, after your abstinence only moment, and you do wait until marriage, what if that, I don't know, like, you still should know about the ins and outs of how this works. Like, and it's not, sex education isn't only about, like, the, like diseases and stuff. I feel like nowadays, or sorry, back then, and maybe here too, but especially in this episode, it's such a Christian agenda that is not real. So it's very fascinating to me in that regard as well. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So Marsha is played by Darlene Hunt, and we did a whole breakdown on her in the Leslie Goddess Picture episode, which is amazing. We love her so much. She created the show The C Word, which is wonderful. I haven't watched a ton of it, but it's great. And I remember I actually did listen to the Parks and Recollection episode, and Jerry was a huge fan of that show, and he didn't realize it when Darlene Hunt came on, and that was really nice to hear that he was a fan too. But she was great. She always does such a good job with this character. It's so good.
She irritates you so much. She does such a great job of that.
So good.
Just that holier than thou.
Yeah, totally. And then we've got Marshall for the first time, which we love. He'll come back in 2 more episodes. He is played by Todd Sherry. He has been in Supergirl, Mindy Project, Parenthood, Grace and Frankie, Will and Grace, like a ton of stuff. He was also in the OC. For a little bit, and I think it wasn't like a recurring or whatever. Maybe it was, but Pratt was also in the OC,
yeah,
which I think is hilarious.
About to say.
Yeah, but he should be in more. I really think I would watch him in anything. I think he's great, and I think most recently it was Supergirl that he was in. That I saw a picture of. But either way, we got really good information from him. I sent him some information. And like I said, he comes back in this season with Are You Better Off? And in the last season in Pie Mary. And yeah, I'll go ahead and play his first voice memo. It's so great. Okay, here it is.
Hi, Holly. Todd Sherry here. Marshall Langman on Parks and Recreation. Going to give you some answers to these questions you sent. Number 1, how did I get the job on Parks and Recreation? Yes, it was an audition. The sides were the first scene that you see Marshall do when Marshall and Marsha Langman burst into the auditorium, and Marshall says, "This that's happening here is not allowed," which, by the way, has become a GIF that you can send to your friends. Anyway, so that was that scene. And then also they had the abstinence rap at the audition. You didn't know the music. You didn't know the rhythm. You didn't know anything. It was just the lyrics on a page, and you had to come up with something. So that's what I did. And I guess I was funny because I got it. I did know the casting director, Dorian Frankel, and she knew that I was a singer. So I assume that she thought of me for this, not only because I was a funny gay actor, but because as a singer, I would probably be able to come up with something for that rap song. I also did a little dancing in there while I was rapping. So I think it all helped and went my way. Luckily, because it became a recurring role on the show, and I really enjoyed it. How was your day on set? Well, my days on set were fantastic. It really was a wonderful show to work on. Everybody was positive. Everybody was happy. Amy Poehler was spectacular, so kind. Um, uh, in that first episode, I got to do so much stuff, and then they would give me permission to improv. They would get all of the scenes filmed as they were written, and then Amy or the director, somebody would call, okay, fun run, and everybody was allowed to improv as you went through the scene. You kind of had to, they wanted you to get the basis of the scene, but you were allowed to improv, say whatever you wanted, break in on things, do whatever. And, some golden moments came out of that. That was so much fun. Darlene Hunt, a darling. What a darling woman. It was so fun to work with her. Sadly, we were supposed to do one more episode, but I had knee surgery. I had torn my ACL off, and I had ACL replacement surgery, which was on a Monday, and they wanted us to shoot on Tuesday. And I said, I can't. I absolutely can't. I'm going to be post-surgery that morning, and I have no idea if I'll even be able to stand up. So we did not get to do that last episode, and I don't even know what they had written for us. So sadly, we'll never know. How was learning the song and the choreography? You said you loved it. Thank you. It was a lot of me. The song was sent to me in a voice memo by the person they had hired to write the music. There was actual music, as you remember, underneath it. And he rapped with it on the recording so that I could hear how it fit in. And then it was all up to me. I learned it. When I got there, I had no idea that I would be standing at a keyboard and pretending to play it myself, which is fine because I do play a little piano. So, I understood, but I had to, come up with it on the fly right there. So I had an earbud in where they were playing the music that I was supposed to look like I was playing. So that thing is in. So that caused a couple times caused some trouble because it wouldn't be on or it wouldn't be loud enough, or, when the moment in the scene when that's supposed to happen, the music actually was supposed to start in my ear, and it didn't sometimes. But when we got it all together, it came out perfectly, and I just thought it was so much fun. Who gets to do an abstinence rap song? I mean, that's hilarious. So that's how that happened. It just sort of was made up on the fly that day while we filmed it. It was a blast doing that show. Everybody was wonderful. They loved their recurring characters. You could tell they loved the fun characters that were created on that show. They loved the people that came in and used their talents to do that. And so many people were on that show. My gosh. Interesting side note, I worked in casting for 10 years while acting, but also working in casting with Patrick Rush. He was a big casting director. And when I first worked for him, I was just helping out in the office. And at the time, they were casting a pilot called Everwood. And that show, as you probably know, gave Chris Pratt his first job. Chris Pratt was one of the stars of Everwood. And when I showed up on set with all those, famous people on set, and Chris Pratt now being, a huge star, he immediately stood up and came over, put his arm around me and showed me off to the whole cast and said, "This guy gave me my first television job." And of course, it wasn't me. It was my boss, Patrick Rush. But he did that. And it really broke the ice and made it comfortable, to be there with all those incredibly famous and talented people. Well, I guess that is all your questions. If people want to follow me on Instagram, it's just my name, Todd Sherry. I usually post today in the garden because I have a 6,000 square foot garden in North Hollywood, and I share pictures of it every day. That's about it. So, Holly, thank you for having me. And thank you for being interested enough to talk about Marshall Langman.
Yay, that was so cool. I loved hearing all those behind the scenes things that he had to do the rap at the audition. That, about Pratt, that was really cool to hear as well. And also as far as like the music goes, I do like that it was kind of that 80s backdrop of it, or like not backdrop, but like, kind of style where basically it was like a synth already kind of playing. You know what I mean? Like it almost felt like it was just one of those like pre-recorded or preset buttons on the piano.
Right. That is
But
exactly
I
how
love
it feels.
the reason I mentioned that choreography thing was just because like I love that he was doing the choreography and Darlene Hunt, aka Marsha, was in like the audience kind of going along with him, like doing the
Yeah.
choreo with him, shadowing back to him, and I just loved that so much. But he also gave me a cute little surprise voice memo too.
Aw.
I'm Marshall Langman, and I'm here to say that sex before marriage is never the way. I waited for marriage and then some to do it. If you decide to sin, you'll rue it. Word.
So
I did not
good.
ask him to do that, so thank you, Todd, for giving us that gift.
That's
That was
amazing.
amazing. I love the writing of I waited until marriage and then some.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm sure he was not super mega into it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
That's the
again, it
vibe.
really reminds me of this, like, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but in TV, film / media, I do feel like this whole trope of like the Christian agenda, like gay guy spreading abstinence only, or some kind of like, God is holier than like whatever you're thinking of doing or whatever, is so real. In fact, there's this on Netflix, actually, Girls 5 Eva is on, it was on something else, Peacock maybe. Now it's on Netflix, and Busy Phillips is played by plays a character who's married to Andrew Rannells, who is a Broadway star, amazing. And he plays this kind of same Todd Sherry / Marshall Langman kind of character where he like sings and is Christian and has a huge mansion because of it and all these things. And I just think that it's really an interesting kind of character because it is real. I think it's real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
in fact, I think it was even on Will and Grace. Like I even think Andrew Rannells might have been in that one too, and Jane Lynch. Like, it's like these kind of Christian camps that are talking about like how you should stay away from sex and only like girls and whatever. So, anyways, I think Todd Sherry did a great job. That casting was perfect. So I just really appreciate that so much.
I agree. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And then I told him that I really appreciated his Annie Oakley and Pippi Longstocking comment, and he said that was an improv by him.
Good for him. Oh, that's
I know.
awesome. Well,
I think by the end of it, like
well
Amy
done.
Poehler had really trusted him, is what he said, and because I was like, that's one of his most famous lines. I feel people really remember that from this episode, and he said that he just kind of thought of that, and I was like, oh my god, that is so great.
Yeah, that is great, and it kind of answers my question because later, Leslie also tells Anne, like calls her Annie Oakley, and
yeah,
I think I was like, that's weird that they do that twice, but it makes more sense now that it was improv and it just,
Yeah, I wonder if it was I don't know. It's like a chicken and the egg thing. Was it scripted that Leslie says that and he read that, or did he say it first? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
who knows?
gonna say that he improvised it first. Maybe, I don't know, but
maybe he didn't even read that part and he improvised it.
Totally,
like
could be.
Yeah, because if you look up a picture of Annie Oakley, like I have that note later, she looks like Annie Oakley.
Totally.
Yeah,
I always think of, well, because I'm a musical theater nerd, but the Annie Get Your Gun musical, and yeah, that's totally what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, Pippi Longstocking with her little pigtails and everything. Yeah, I love hearing that about just everything, like being on set that day and how improv was like allowed, and I'm loving that they called him back. That is such a gift, and like he said, they really do love their guest star actors. So if you show that you've got some, if you get along well, if you do the work well, and you're funny, like they want to bring you back if they can.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you, Todd. I'll tag you on Instagram and everything. And yes, I do follow him on Instagram, and there's lots of garden pictures and beetles and like fun things. So you guys can check that out.
Good stuff.
All right, so now we're chopping wood at Ron's cabin, and Tom got a splinter, and he has like a breakdown basically. And Ron then has this idea to purge, meaning like talk about all the things that he used to do on the screen, which for Ron seems like an insane idea, even though he says he didn't know how much Tom has to talk about. Like, that seems crazy to me that he's offering this, but I guess that's his growth maybe happening.
Yeah, but I think we see Ron is willing to do crazy things for the people he cares about. Like, they
Yeah.
seem crazy to us because it's Ron.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think he's like, I see a way I can help Tom become a better guy. We see him do it later too when he helps with Rent a Swag, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think he sees this moment as I can help Tom grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Ron can kind of tone it out anyway. He's just like,
Well, and
I'll
Ron
be in
thinks
my
it's
own
only going to
vibe.
be one sentence,
Right. Yeah.
if that.
Maybe two. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it just
I can't believe he
becomes
lets him go
insane.
on for so long.
Oh my God. Insane.
Yeah.
That was a great little montage, though, of him like talking through all the different activities that they're doing. Checking Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn for the professional shawties.
Oh my gosh.
But honestly, I mean, this is not far off from what most of us do nowadays. We wake up, we check Instagram, maybe Twitter if you're on Twitter, Facebook, and email is probably one that he didn't say that I do, that I check mine, and then TikTok at night. I don't really watch TikTok in the morning time because it's more of a, my eyes are glazed over type
Wind
of vibe.
down. Yeah.
There is a deleted scene, though, also, speaking of that, where he talks about falling asleep. It takes him hours now because he just lays there till he falls asleep instead of watching a screen. And I was like, honestly, relatable.
Yeah, I mean, when I go through bouts of insomnia, the only way I can fall asleep is, and it's usually still takes hours, is I have to have the TV on.
Yeah. It just really relaxes people. Well, it doesn't
Mhm.
relax everybody, but it relaxes a lot of people in that way. And they say to get better sleep, you should be turning off your phone an hour before sleep or before
Mhm.
bed or whatever. And I can't do it. I can't do it. I'll try, but I can't do it. But I don't have a TV in my bedroom because some people have a TV in their bedroom. And I think that sometimes can lend itself to bad things. But at the same time, I don't know what the difference is really with what I'm doing. So, anyways, so yeah, do you have anything before we move on to back at the City Hall or Parks Department?
I just thought that the WebMD comment was relatable.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like most people, something happens, our immediate thought is WebMD. And sadly, I think that also lends a hand to our insurance system. Not to get into more shit, but like I would rather look on WebMD to know if I need to go to the doctor or not than go to the doctor because I'm probably going to pay $100 copay, just to make sure I'm not dying.
Yeah, 100%.
So I get it. I definitely go on WebMD. I've definitely done it for my baby, and I'm not my proudest moment, but I'm also like, I got to do what I got to do. I'm not paying.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if you use it with caution, that's fine.
Mhm.
As long as you're not thinking that you're dying when you have a headache, I think you're okay. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Just don't take it as Bible, I think is the big thing.
100%.
So.
And so many symptoms can mean so many different things. So, but that's the thing that about WebMD though is, one like a stomach ache, like, oh my God, I'm bleeding internally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that's not always the case.
You know what's awesome now? And I'm not a big AI person, but Gemini now on Google, if you Google anything, it compiles the summary of the results and all the other links. So that
I
little
think I've
blurb
seen
up at the
that.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great because I did that the other day when Ivan was feeling a certain way. And I just like typed it in and it like compiled in 2 sentences. Nothing to be concerned about, but
Yeah. But keep
in
an eye out
rare
for this.
cases.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's all I needed to know. Do I need to be talking about going to the doctor? Cool, thank you. So
Yes, totally.
helpful. See, the internet's good for something.
It is. No, it's great. And
It's
that's the
awesome.
thing about like AI and ChatGPT and all these things. Like, I'm not saying we should get rid of it because hello, we just need to like somehow come to terms with it. It's a part of our life and we have to somehow just
moderate it.
Yeah, and also like coexist with it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We're all in this world together. So yeah, I think the internet has been a great discovery. We just have to use it with caution.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and not let humans die out because of it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. And creativity and art and all these things.
Yes.
But anyway, it is a tool and
It
it is
is.
necessary in a lot of ways. So back at the Parks Department, Anne comes in, and Donna has a lot of people's favorite lines of, "It's not my favorite shirt, but it is my least favorite shirt."
Love it so much.
She's wearing her Dude Ranch shirt. Oh my God.
Oh, Anne.
Now Marsha and Marshall are on PERD talking about abstinence. 85% of people support abstinence, which is wild because these polls sometimes don't always make sense because not everyone who could be polled actually take the poll, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So, you're really getting the extreme sides of each of these, but still, that's a lot of people for
That's
abstinence.
a lot of people.
And I also love that he calls his fans perdverts. I think that's the first time we hear that.
Yeah, it is.
But it's not the best at this point
It's
in time
not.
right now.
Yeah. Not well.
And by at this point in time, I don't even mean 2024. I mean, like, at the time then, it wasn't the
Right.
place to say perdverts.
No.
We're talking about sex
You
here,
could have come
okay?
up with a way better one.
Yeah. But I get it. Also, I love those yellow cups. When we interviewed Jay Jackson, I'm pretty positive that's the one that he showed us that said he still has. So I would love that as well. Jay Jackson plays Perd. We interviewed him like way back in the early
million
Park
years.
Pals
Yeah,
days.
early years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he showed us that when we were interviewing him. So, and listen, this is what we were talking about before. And from a nurse's point of view, this is her job. This is what she studied. And she's also in the health department now, and she's telling us the facts that abstinence only education doesn't work. And I love that. Also, I don't know. Well, love hate. I have a love hate relationship. Why is Chris like turned on by her knowing so many things?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he
Weird.
meant knowledge in general, but
Yeah.
that's what I would prefer, not the knowledge about the sex abstinence only. But anyway.
That's how I read it. That it was just like that she's knowledgeable and smart.
Yeah,
she came prepared. I think.
I love Anne's look though. She's like, "What? Why did you say that?
I'm confused by this.
Why is that necessary?" And then we get into it where we talk about the law's the law. And Anne's like, well, you're, city council now. Change the law. You can change it. And Leslie has the thought that I had of like, you can't fight those numbers. Those numbers are crazy. Like, even if I wanted to, people want this. And so that kind of is the start of our Anne and Leslie like disagreement moment, which we will continue a little bit later.
Yeah, I think it's a really good representation of, sometimes we're like, why can't someone do something about this? And it's like, but you don't know all the background information of why they're not doing something about it.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I'm with you and I'm with Leslie. Like, she's going to be able to do so much good in city council, but if she starts pushing all these things, like she did the soda tax, and she just keeps pushing these things, she's going to get recalled faster.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's something that I really appreciate about, which I know it's hard to watch kind of, and I know it's hard for Leslie to go through, but I really do appreciate that every episode we have a roadblock for her as city council, as trying to take care of the citizens that don't want to be taken care of, but yet they are mad at her for not taking care of her or taking care of them. And it's like just this cycle.
Yeah. It's that line that I quote almost constantly from Ryan in The Office when he says, lead me when I'm in the mood to be led.
Right.
And that's like the vibe of the Pawnee people. Like, guide me or take care of me in the way I want to be taken care of, not in the way that's actually going to take care of me.
Right. 100%. And it's just I think it's very great for them to show that Leslie is trying to take care of them, but she's also trying to do her job by serving the people and serving what they want. So it's really hard. So I like that they show that. So now we're watching the congressman back in DC sit there at his desk for the entire day. Ben says maybe there's a TV, like maybe that's what he's staring at. And it really is robotic the way he's acting, because he repeats that it's a hot one out there today. Oh my God. And I have a fan theory. Okay, remember how we talked, this is just me creating this, but remember how we talked about, I don't think you've watched the show yet, but Ben's claymation thing is like the new Severance intro, because the intro to Severance is claymation. And I think that this has this is in the world too, of him being robotic, and because that's kind of what the show is about too. If you watch the show, you'll have to You'll have to weigh in. But yeah, it is a really good crossover moment and a really good universe moment. And I think that this guy has been taken over by the Severance people because the premise of the show. Wait, what?
I'm just intrigued.
Oh,
Keep
okay.
going.
I thought you were going to say something.
No.
The premise of the show is that when your personal life is severance from your work life. So when you get in the elevator to go into work, like your mind clears and you just go to professional you. You don't know who you are outside of work. And people do it like Adam Scott's character did it for a reason that I'm not going to spoil, but like it's kind of just if you've had bad experiences, whatever. And you just don't want to remember that. And I feel like this congressman, has gone into severance mode when he's in the congressman thing.
Which is why he's so happy.
Yeah. Now, I will say in Severance, the people are not like robotic like this. They're still humans. They just don't know who they are outside of it, but still could get far. So I'm sorry to go on that tangent if you're not familiar with Severance, but
now we all have to watch it.
You should definitely watch it. It's on Apple TV, and I'm obsessed. Okay. Also, Christopher Walken is in it. So
I love Christopher.
Come on. And that guy from Oh Brother Where Art Thou? What's his name? The Italian guy, tall, dark hair. Oh my God, he's so good. Anyways, okay, moving on.
Side note: have you ever heard Dave Grohl say Foo Fighters the way that Christopher Walken would say Foo Fighters?
No.
I guess Christopher Walken announced them at SNL one year, and he asked Dave Grohl, "How do you pronounce that appropriately?" And so he told him to influx the wrong part of the word or something, and it came out like so good.
Like I Foo Fighters.
Yeah, it's like the Foo Fighters is how he says it. It's so good. Sorry, that's a side note, a tangent, but I just love it.
I love that too. Walken. Imagining him saying that. I cannot do a Christopher Walken accent. I think a lot of people can, but I'm not even going to try to touch it.
Dave Grohl does a great job. I'll have to find the video and send it to you.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
All right. So Tom keeps talking about the internet with Ron. Oh my God. It's so much. They're fishing, they're hunting, they're doing all these things, and he just consistently keeps talking about it. And then,
who fucking gave him a gun?
Oh my God. That's true. Ron did. I guess he thinks it's okay with supervision.
I'm like, dude, after the hunting trip episode.
Totally. That's a great point. I didn't even think of that. But I don't think Tom's going to shoot anything.
I hope it's not loaded. I hope he was just like, I want him to feel included, and he didn't load it, and it's, But that was my thought. It's like, am I the only one that remembers that he shot Ron?
Yeah, that's so true. And now Ron's hunting with him. Oh my God, that was a goof. I'll take that goof over the and not dating 40-year-olds.
Yeah. But yeah, that's not a goof.
Way more off.
Yeah.
Oh my God, hilarious. Okay. Well, the really exciting part, though, that he gets to with the internet is he talks about podcasts. And I love this. It's so meta. He has one with John Ralphio called Nacho Average Podcast, and they rate different types of nachos. And oh my God, what a weird thing to have.
Yeah,
but people
that's very weird.
I think people would watch it more on TikTok than they might listen to it.
Yeah, because they want to see the nachos. Food is popular on TikTok.
Edley's, the barbecue place here has such good nachos with like homemade potato chips. I know it's supposed to be tortilla chips, but they make homemade potato chips with their barbecue, like pork or chicken or whatever. But you should get the pork, and it is like so good. I can't get over it. Oh, I love nachos.
Yeah, I know. I love nachos too. You got to be like, for me though, it's like to pick particular where you get them, because sometimes you get nachos and you're like, there's not enough of any of the stuff on here.
Totally.
I'm just eating chips.
100%.
Holly, I'm so excited to come visit you at some point so we can go eat all the things, because I'm pretty sure you said there's a really good waffle place there too. Or donuts. Was it donuts?
There's a lot of donut places. There's a lot of ice cream places. Oh my God, there is really good food here. I will say, even though Nashville doesn't feel like my forever place, the food is phenomenal. Especially when people come to visit, I'm like, oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of breakfast places though that have good waffles, so we'll do that. Ron says Tom is an addict, and honestly, that is true, and it's not an exaggeration. He is an addict, and that is real to this day. Social media addiction is real to me, I think. Screen addiction is real. I think, I know people that kind of think, well, people sometimes who don't have friends in real life. And I'm not saying this in any sort of judgment way, but it's just an observation that like social media sometimes makes them feel like they have friends. And for me, sometimes that's even nice because I have friends in real life, but sometimes it's nice to see what everyone else is doing who I don't see every day. And then you feel like you're included in something. And that is a really, really strong, I guess, reason to be so into social media, because it makes you feel like you're involved, and everybody wants a community and connection. And that's what social media is supposed to or does for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And we learn later that that is kind of why, a little bit of what Tom is going through, but we'll talk about that a little bit later too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to get more into the addiction part of it later too. 'Cause there's a sign that you're like, yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, Tom says he'll go grab some victory steaks, which I don't know why Ron trusts this. This is weird too. Everything seems out of character for Ron.
Yeah. This is the part that also that I was going to talk about, the addiction pieces. He's manipulating to get what he needs. You know, like I've seen it with addiction where you will do anything to get to the thing that you're withdrawing from.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
It's like he's lying. Not to say that Tom's above lying, because we know who he's still sleazy Tom at this point in the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
He still lacks a lot of morals, but he's like lying to Ron, this person who's put his life on hold to help him through this.
Yeah.
And as we will find out, he does damage to some of Ron's property and doesn't show any remorse for it.
Correct.
And that's all very addiction like.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's
scary.
True. It's real.
Anyway, I agree with you. Why is Ron believing this?
Yeah, come on. He can't even get to work. How are you going to get him to go to wherever? And then somehow he makes it to Best Buy and gets a burner phone. So I don't know. Anyways, okay, so now we're back at the senior center for the sex education that is supported by Marsha and Marshall with the pamphlets. Oh my God, I love that.
Yes.
There's a party in your pants and no one is invited. I thought that was great.
So good. I forgot to mention earlier that there was a watermelon included with the fruits.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that too.
I don't know what's happening.
I know. They just got a bunch of fruits.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have what I call the truth breakdown friend moment, because Anne says that Leslie isn't acting like herself by just going along with this and not, trying to stand up to these people. And Anne is doing the exact same thing by not acting like herself, dressing like a cowboy for her boyfriend. And I do love the comedy part of it as far as, want to go there? Where are we going? Okay, I guess we're going there. Are we leaving? Yeah. And then Anne kind of just like straight up says to her, you're not acting like yourself either, so you can't lecture me about not being myself. Like, you're changing everything about yourself. And I don't think that Anne really, I mean, it could have been, I guess, more delicate, but like, I get why they did it at this time. But I don't think Anne really saw that either. I don't think Anne is really aware that she does this until someone kind of points it out to her. And I'm glad that it was Leslie that did that.
Yeah, which is what a best friend is supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's sucky because you don't want to have those rough conversations because you love each other and you don't want to hurt each other. But it's like sometimes the person needs to hear that stuff to get better. Not get better to be a better person, but to heal past things.
And to see the perspective.
Yeah.
And Anne does the same thing for Leslie, even though like Leslie doesn't really take it in at this moment. Like, Anne is still doing the same thing. They're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as far as like saying, you don't usually go along with this kind of stuff, like, what are you doing? So I think that was a really good thing that they showed. And then this is where the Annie Oakley line comes in.
Yeah. So good.
Then we get to Tom crashing on his phone. We already talked about that. So I'll skip over that and get to, yes, this is where we have the Marshall Langman abstinence rap. Love these dance moves and the lyrics. I already talked about, I love the line, I waited till marriage and then some to do it. And Leslie's talking about the abstinence, and they actually have questions. That's what I really like, and that's what, I don't know if this was maybe like, on purpose or whatever, but I really do feel like this is what sparks Leslie to not follow the rules. It's like these people are actually interested in what she has to say from a sex education perspective and not an abstinence only question and things like that. So,
like, screw the polls. There's people right in front of me that need something and I can provide it.
And they want to talk about it. And it's just, yeah, I think it's really great. And I love the comedy though about speaking of these questions of I don't know where Lou has been.
Yes.
And the
Lou.
extra who plays Lou has this like little smirky eyebrow raise moment. It's so good. Oh my god, I love it.
So well done. Well, and then someone says,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you see the internal struggle, but that Leslie is having, like with whether or not to say, to go on with what she was gonna say about reading from the religion pamphlet, or
yeah, which is ridiculousness. But there's this person that says, I shouldn't listen to someone who's 10 years my junior.
Oh yes,
and
Gladys.
Anne goes. She's like, yeah, Gladys.
Yeah, Gladys, you're right.
Except for the 10-year part. The age part. I like that she collects it back, right? She's not mad enough. She's not like mad at Leslie enough to be like dishing on her like that.
Yeah, and I think both I and Leslie agree. That was not proper English. I think I and Leslie and I agree that, like, we shouldn't be telling them what to do with their lives. We should just be providing them information, and then they can make their own choices. Especially if it's like healthy education and healthy knowledge for them to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they are old. They've been around the block. You know what I mean? They're not going to stop
seriously.
doing it.
We're not teaching 12-year-olds about sex in here. Yeah. Like you're saying, these people, we're just helping.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not misinforming.
And then Leslie's finally like, okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay. Leslie's finally like, screw it, does the banana condom thing, starts throwing out condoms. I love this. Who wants to party? It seems like an improv line, but who knows? I don't know. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Now Leslie's talking to Chris because she got a censure from the mayor's office, which is basically saying she's in deep trouble. It's very serious. I love that they point out that Leslie is now Chris's boss, but
I forgot about that.
Yeah. You don't really think about it.
Yeah.
It's great. Love that note.
Yeah. Me too.
But he makes he makes a suggestion as far as making an apology, writing an apology, and in the future think about this moment so that you can kind of make the decision based on that. But this made him proud to vote for her as a citizen, and I think that's really sweet and special.
Yeah, I think he does a really good job. He's in a really tough spot as Leslie's best friend, and she's like, "What?
Here we go again. Him thinking
what?
that everyone is his best friend.
Yeah.
Oh my god!"
But he's got this friendship relationship with Leslie, but he's also a government official, and he's also a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the most part, he juggles all three of these positions.
Yeah,
very well. So he's able to reprimand her for like, you didn't follow the way we should have done it as a government official. But I'm really proud of you too as a citizen.
Yeah,
like that's got to be hard to do.
I agree with Chris. His citizen side, like if I voted for her, I would have been very proud that I had voted for her because I think that was the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
But Leslie is always stuck between a rock and a hard place too, and I think that's kind of the name of the game when you're a civil servant. So it's really hard, but I'm glad that she did it.
Yeah, me too. I think we see that, like you're saying, every episode, right? She has a roadblock of like, what's best for the citizens, what's best for my career, what's best for what's not against the law, like all this stuff.
Totally,
it's crazy.
So now we're back in DC doing a video for the congressman and like a social media probably not social media, but a video campaign moment. And Ben asks this. I don't know who the guy is. He's not a campaign manager, so maybe he is like just a leader in some way. Yeah, maybe consultant, something like that. I don't know. But Ben asks him, like, why is the congressman so robotic? And the guy is like, it's great. Yeah, he just turns it on. It's awesome. He has no qualms about this at all. It's so weird.
It's very interesting.
The guy who plays this is John Story, and he was also in Independence Day, which one of our senior citizens was in. He was also in the movie Eight-Legged Freaks, which I remember that coming out. Do you remember that with David Arquette? Oh my god. No. It was like a horror movie with like these huge spiders, but like I can't remember. I feel like it was like a parody of a horror movie or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Maybe of Human Centipede.
Oh god. That one was like really that one wasn't a parody, was it? That was like for real, right?
No, Human Centipede is real. I'm saying maybe David Arquette's film is the parody of that.
Oh. I don't know. Oh my god. But they were the same producers, Independence Day and Eight-Legged Freaks, so that must be why. As far as like him being in both, maybe that had something to do with it. Whatever, doesn't matter. He was also in a show called Almost Paradise, bunch of other things. I thought he did a great job, and I didn't record it because I didn't think it was like super vital to hear. But there is a deleted scene with this guy as well. He had another scene where they're in the conference room. It's April, Ben, and the congressman and this consultant guy, and they're kind of just talking about the strategy. And again, it just proves a little bit more how robotic he is. The congressman is, and Ben wants to kind of push a little bit further. But the consultant is like, I think we're gonna win, like we're good. And that also, I thought that was, I mean, that was interesting information, but not something that we as the audience like need to know. But he has, like, they're winning, they're in the lead, it's like kind of a shoe-in basically.
Right.
But I thought that was really worth mentioning, though, that the actor who played that guy had another scene. So good job to you.
Yeah. Love it.
All right, so now Tom is apologizing to Ron, which I'm glad, because now, you know, he did say sorry. I mean, initially that should have been his first thing, but he does say sorry. He's feeling vulnerable. And then this is where he kind of gets into why he is so addicted to screens. And he says a lot of stuff in real life hasn't been going so great. And so he spends a lot on, you know, his time on the internet and stuff to distract himself from that. And I feel like that's so, like we talked about, I just feel like that's so true for so many people. It is a distraction. Yeah. I remember on Social Network, that documentary, they described social media as the adult pacifier, and I was like, that is the best way to describe it. It really is, because no matter if you're in a bad mood, I feel like Instagram will either justify your bad mood, which helps you feel better, or it will just like calm you down and like kind of get you to that baseline, which is really upsetting and sad when you think about it. But I have done that many a time. And again, I think it's about the connection in the community, whereas when you're upset and needing a distraction, you feel so isolated.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyways, well, now Leslie is on PERD, and Anne is back to her normal self, normal wardrobe. And Anne is kind of coming to terms / realizing the truth of Leslie's words, that her personality gets swept up in whatever guy she's dating. And, you know, just a lot of truth bombs happening in this episode, I feel, with that back-to-back with Tom's truth moment as well. So I'm glad that she said that. And she said she bought a lasso. Awful.
Lord in heaven.
Poor Anne. There is a deleted scene actually where Anne and Leslie are using the lasso. They're like lassoing things out on the courtyard. It's like random ass shit, that the like vase with flowers or something trying to lasso around. And then they have this funny moment where they tie Jerry up using the lasso, like, and he just, you know, submits to it as far as like, yeah, sure, I'll be like the, you know, person you practice on or whatever. And then they can't get him out of the lasso, and so that they'll leave him and go get Ron. It's a mess.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, but
yikes.
Yeah. So now we're at where Leslie is apologizing, quote unquote, on PERD, but she's not apologizing for what you think she's apologizing for. She's apologizing for the antiquated laws and the actual, not the actual teaching of the sex education that she, you know, put forth. And I think that's wonderful. I love that she says you know, we all want the same thing. We're technically on the same side as far as what our goals are. You know what I mean? I think that's something that people forget a lot.
Yeah. The handhold between Marcia and Marshall.
Yeah.
When she changes the trajectory of the apology is so...
It's good.
It just, it's a little cherry on top of the scene.
Yeah. It's a total like, okay, we have to war up now. But she wears her censure like a scarlet letter / badge of honor, which, you know, is really awkward and weird, but we love it for her.
Yeah.
And then now we're at where Ron is giving Tom the book Auto Repair Manual 1982 and tells him to read it, an actual book with pages made of wood, or however he says it, and help him fix his car in exchange for not telling the judge about Tom's misstep, which, again, we were talking about earlier in the episode. And I do love all the rules for Tom when he gets his phone back. Like, don't be on your phone when you're with someone. It's so rude and disrespectful.
Yeah, I hate when I'm out with people or like doing anything, like my phone is in my purse or it is face down. I have my watch. You know, I think the watch has been a beautiful thing because if I get a text, like I look, if I see it's from someone like important and it's important, then I'll pick up my phone. But if I look at it and I'm like, that's, you know, I can answer that later, then I don't even have to pick up my phone and stop the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I think it's great. But I love that Because you feel like if someone's on their phone when they're talking to you, you feel like looked over,
Mm-hmm.
and that what you're
Yeah.
saying isn't important.
It's really rude. I actually don't even have, because I have a Fitbit that would show my text, but I don't even have that on. I just have if someone calls me, because I feel like I get so overstimulated, because I am. For you, it probably makes more sense because, well, first of all, you have a child now. But secondly, like, you're not on your phone all the time like I kind of am, I think. And so when I'm not having my phone on, if I get a call, then I know it's really important. And most of the time I don't really get calls. So it's like from my mom, and then I'll answer that, obviously. But yeah, that is a good note for people that are trying to like kind of cut back.
Yeah.
And I do love that Ron kind of makes this deal himself. He's not going to tell the judge, and he could have told the judge very much so, and Tom could have gotten fined or whatever. And I think that this is Ron being the dad to everybody, as far as or mentor, whatever you want to call it, having a lesson on how to get through this and how to become like better after this. And he doesn't want to kick Tom when he's down also. So I think this is a really smart compromise.
Yeah, I think this is great parenting. Like this is something I would be proud to come up with as a parent of I don't want to call it a punishment, but like a disciplinary act towards your, this is your consequence to your action.
Yeah.
Like you have to fix the car now, and you can't use Google.
Right.
So good luck.
Good luck. Oh my God. I know that's the lovely thing about the internet now too. Is like YouTube has so many tutorials and like cool things to learn. And certain TikToks even are very educational. So, if you're on the right side of your algorithm, like it'll work for you.
Oh yeah. We use TikTok for workouts.
Oh, nice.
For like good form for weightlifting and stuff like that. And it's really helpful.
It is.
So there's useful information out there. Yeah. Tool.
Also his line of, if you ever need to discuss your problems with someone, find Leslie. She lives for that crap, which I love, because you think that he's going to say, talk to him. And you're like,
yeah,
too far.
Yeah. He kept it. But I think that's great, right? Like don't forget, I forget this so often. You have people in your corner that want to hear about what's going on.
It's true.
But sometimes it's so much easier to just bury it down so you don't annoy people with your thoughts, that you don't sound like a whiner. Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't ever want to sound like I'm complaining too much. And it's like, you have people in your corner that care. You don't have to just drown in social media to get rid of that feeling, So I love that he reminds him of that, even though he's not the one that's offering his time.
Right. Totally. That's so true. And I feel like it's just that instant gratification. Like it's not getting down to what actually is the problem or why you might be going for a distraction. So I think it's really interesting that they brought it to a serious moment when he discusses that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's well done.
Yeah. Well, the tag is Leslie talking to Ben and how on the phone and how she's going to draft a bill to take out the abstinence only law. And I love how motivated and fired up she is, and how it's so inspiring. Every time she has a setback, she always comes back better for it. And I love that, because she knows what's right. She knows her moral compass. And like we talked about, she has a challenge every episode, but it's really nice to always see her somehow overcome it. Like it's always like, and it's hard to do, like, because in real life, obviously, like that's not always the case, but like it's, in this 30-minute episode, 20-minute episode, it's nice to see like it's streamlined, and then she gets a setback, and then she comes back up and then goes down. It's really nice. And I like that she's talking to Ben about it. That's really special.
I love this check-in, that it's not like we've forgotten that they're together at all, but it's just nice to see this. It's almost like this little private look in of how they're still supporting each other even from far away.
Yeah. And then obviously we have to get to the, what are you wearing? I can't do that now.
That here. Yeah.
Oh my God. I love that so much.
Yeah.
And then, Ben at the end is pretending that he's being a robot. Again, Severance.
Yes.
I love let's go eat some batteries. I mean, human food. And this is the part which I really loved. It really feels like they're friends finally. It's not awkward. It's not weird. It's not mean. It just shows friendship. And I think that is really lovely, because I've been waiting so long. And even in this episode, I was like kind of annoyed with April in some ways. But I think I've been waiting so long for them to just finally like be okay around each other. And it's nice to see April like smile and laugh that isn't sarcastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's genuine.
over something that Ben said / that they're bonding over. And so I really, really loved this. And I think it's really important to show that. I was
I
really
agree.
relieved, honestly, that they showed it. And yeah, I was just really happy about that.
Yeah, I thought this was a great tag. I loved everything with them in this episode. I had a note earlier, and I just didn't find it important to mention at the moment, but because we're talking about Ben and April, he's getting ready to compliment her on her work right before she brings up the congressman, and she cuts him off.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like,
I forgot about
we
that.
don't hear the compliment.
Yeah,
but it's nice that he's getting to a place where he's noticing the work she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really nice. But then she's like, doesn't want to hear it. And she's, you know how weird she is with compliment. And so she just cuts him off and goes straight to the congressman. But I think this episode is such a beautiful step in their relationship. So
yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Well, that was sex education, and it was a lot to cover, and I'm sorry we went on so many tangents, but it was definitely worth it. So thank you for sticking around if you did. Thank you to Todd Sherry and Alex Morris for sending in those amazing voice memos. That was so fun. I'll definitely probably reach out to Todd again if, we get to his next episodes as Marshall and have any other questions or whatever. But I loved hearing that abstinence rap, and yeah.
love it. So good.
Yeah.
And next is Halloween surprise.
Oh my God, so exciting. Oh my God, the fart attack.
The fart attack.
That's awful.
I just want to hear the doctor say a fart attack. Is that so much to ask?
Oh my God.
So
Crazy.
good.
But don't forget to rate and review if you haven't already done that. You can go on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcasts. It is listed there for you. Also TikTok, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. I'll be sure to tag everybody too so you know where to follow them. And yeah, we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.